Welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Griffin Co. X Series bolster lock. I've been excited to be able to share this with y'all from day one, and by the time you're watching this video, these have went live on his site, and let's get into this one. It's an excellent size, I think, as far as how slim and sleek the knife is and the weight. This one's coming in at 8.37 inches long. This one has the same dimensions as a large Sabenza. He did that purposely, and I think that's an excellent size as well, except this one feels like it's a lot lighter than that. We'll check that later. We have a 3.62 inch drop point blade of CPM MagnaCut steel, as you can see there. The OEM for this knife is Bestech, just like all the other Griffin knives, and they always do an outstanding job. If the folder performs anything like the X Series EDC fixed blade, then I have a really good idea how this one's going to perform. So I'm pretty excited about that. This is an outstanding EDC fixed blade. I just slapped the micarta scales on it so you can see it side by side with the bolster lock, bolster to bolster up there. And if you go all the way to the back, there you go, butt to butt. Yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying this one, and it's crazy how lightweight this thing is with the micarta scales. I had the tie scales on for the review. I'll probably go back to those just because I like those a lot, but man, if you're looking for something lightweight, this is it right here. This knife comes in 4 different blade finishes. I'll pop them up on the screen now, but you can get it the satin like I have. You can get it with a stonewash blade, a black DLC blade, or a black wash DLC. They all look great. It just depends on what you're looking for. You can get 12 different scale options ranging from G10, micarta, Ultim, carbon fiber, and they even have a stonewash brass that looks very nice if you like that. All of them are the same exact price no matter which finish you get, except for the carbon fiber, which is a small upcharge. And that's totally understandable because it's a more expensive material. But we all know some companies like to upcharge for Ultim. He also did an upcharge for the DLC finish, which a lot of companies upcharge that as well. There's also a special version with Borkman's Damasteel, and of course that one's gonna be kind of pricey because of the Damasteel. Let's take a closer look at this. Your 3.62 inch blade has a 3.5 inch cutting edge. Excellent, I love that. You have some very functional grippy jimping up here that is in a good spot, and your thumb's not going anywhere. You have a very fine precision needle tip right there. Great for doing piercing tasks. You got that low tip, so it's easy to get the tip onto things. If you need to make some fine, intricate cuts, you can do that. The satin finish version, you have vertical belt satin on your primary grind, and then you have like a brushed horizontal satin on the flats. I think it looks nice. You have a blade window on both sides that we'll talk about in the deployment. You have a perfectly executed sharpening choil. I love that. That's how you do it right there. You're gonna have tons of sharpening life. You'll be able to sharpen going all the way up to the top right there before it'll start to widen because that plunge is brought all the way back here. The first thing I noticed whenever I got this is how deep this hollow grind is. I was like, wow, this thing is nice and thin. It comes down to around 13 thousandths behind the edge. And I was already excited whenever I got that measurement. And then I was like, well, it is nice and thin behind the edge, but I know Bestech likes to usually put big old fat edge bevels on their knives, usually from like 24 to 26 degrees per side. However, my particular knife is sharpened to 18 degrees per side. That is excellent, and this should be an absolute slicing machine. We're gonna find out. Boy, I knew right off the back I was gonna like this one. That deep hollow grind and how sharp the edge came, paired with a thinner edge bevel than you normally see on most production knives. This thing is slicing so well, and I think I add 6 more pieces of cardboard. I tend to do that whenever it's going that well because it's fun. I enjoy doing this for y'all. It helps me draw my conclusions on the knife, and it shows y'all, you know, a little glimpse of what the knife can do. And if you think, you know, what I do in these tests is decent or good by any means, wait till you sharpen it once or twice. It's going to get even better than that. That's what I've noticed pretty much with any production knife. But wow, that low tip drop point is allowing me, it almost feels like I have a complete straight edge, but you do have belly up there in the front, and it's just gliding through it. Yeah, you can see all this extra cardboard. And talk about making a mess. I have to bring it inside right now. It's way too hot for me to be in my garage. So that's why you're seeing most of these tests done in my kitchen. I get some dirty looks from the wife from time to time, but she knows, you know, it's very dangerous for me to be out in a lot of heat ever since the accident. So why not be in the nice air-conditioned house? As long as I vacuum up everything, pick up all the mess. It takes me a good while, but I do it for y'all, and I do it so I can, like I said, draw my conclusions. Now, I'm using very, very light pressure because it wants to bite into this wood pretty fast. And we're going to get middle ways into this piece, and then my grandbaby calls, and it stops the record, and I didn't notice it. So I decided to do another piece. So you're going to see it kind of swap up, and that's why. But talk about comfortable and powerful. Yeah, there you go. Right there's where I had to swap it up. I am putting a lot of force, and I want to make sure that hollow grind's not going to, you know, bend on me or anything, because I have had it happen to me in the past, but it was a much, much thinner grind. And this is where I'm truly happy. It is like butter. You can see me swap over to that pointer finger grip. That's how you know the knife is really sharp. And this is another one. I had another piece of sisal rope cut about the same length as I had this one for the next knife that I'm going to be testing after this one. And I end up at the end grabbing that piece as well because it's just going that well. You get that perfect amount of belly to easily make cuts on the flat cutting surface. That jimping is excellent. It's making the pointer finger grip very easy. You know, that paired with a sharp edge. Yeah, I could have done this for probably an hour straight without getting any blisters. You know, that pointer finger grip, even though it's more comfortable, it does start to fatigue my forearms a little bit because you're squeezing it a little bit tighter, you know, in that pinch grip. But I'll do that any day over the large blisters I get from doing it the other way most of the time. But for everything that every different grip that I held this knife in, it was outstanding. And, you know, if this is how it's going to be toward the rest, I am enamored with this knife. Nice and crisp. And most of this, if you can, I mean, it is sped up, but it's mostly push cuts. You know, maybe a small rock from time to time from back and forth. If I would have used the other grip, it would have been even easier. Just because that grip I can put more force, but I didn't really need to. All the way up until the end, we cut 220 pieces of sisal rope before I end up running out of the second piece that I cut, and that is outstanding. That tip is a scalpel up there at the front. So drag cuts, it is really, really going to excel. I need to get me some more leather. Sorry. But I did a little bit extra of a lot of the stuff because whenever it's working so well, I figure why not? Look at that. Popping the dense materials, dense cardboard, no problem. Now you do want to watch out for that tip so you don't bury it into your cutting board, but once I get to the denim and it's still blasting through it, yeah, this knife gets an A++ from me. Outstanding job. Man, I had so much fun testing this knife. That's why I threw all that extra stuff in there, because it was cutting so well. But let's talk about the deployment and action of this knife. You have a front flipper, as you can see. It does sit above those scales, so if you want to roll it around, you can easily do that. That jimping grabs a hold of my thumb nicely. I can easily do a regular front flip. You can do the knuckle roll if you want. And being this is a bolster lock, I can grab below those bolsters, and I can do the reach around. Also, you have that blade window, so if you want to thumb flick it, you can. If you want to slow roll it, you can. Reverse flick, my favorite, works outstanding. This thing has a perfectly tuned detent. If you wanted to, you could also do a pinch and drop. The sky's the limit when it comes to the deployment on this knife, and that's because it has that detent that's dialed to perfection. It is riding on ceramic ball bearings with the ceramic detent ball, giving it a nice smooth action. It's a pretty controlled drop, and it's getting smoother and smoother over time. I have not taken this one apart or anything. I'm sure if I took it apart, put my own lube in there, maybe even threw some skiffs in there, it'd probably get even smoother, but I like it the way it is right now. Now let's take a look at the handle area. My particular variation, I went with natural canvas micarta, and it's very grippy, and it's nice and soft to the touch. You have titanium bolsters, and on this one, it looks like it's a tumbled finish on those bolsters, so it's like a bead blasted and tumbled. I think it looks nice. And then you have contouring on those scales to make it hand melting. T8 construction throughout. Love seeing that. And if you flip it over, you have a blind screwed mill tie clip, which is screwed from the inside, so you don't have a hole for a screw right there, keeping it nice and clean. And being this is a bolster lock, that's going to act as your over travel. And you have the hardened stainless steel lock insert that will act as over travel as well. You have a hidden lanyard post in the back. That is awesome. So if you're not a lanyard guy, then you don't have a hole breaking up the clean lines of this knife. Now this one's tip up right hand carry only, but don't worry lefties, he also has left-handed versions. He was thinking about y'all as well. Centering is right down the pipe. Perfect. And whenever I was doing all the testing, I noticed this was a very comfortable handle. I can choke back if I want to, and he got some jimping underneath right here. So if I want to choke up, if I need to get right up to that edge to do a nice controlled fine cut, I can do that if I want. And if I'm trying to be a little bit safer, I can come back behind that. And then you have this little small choil area, and you're not gonna have to worry about riding up if you had to do some kind of piercing into some potato chips or something. And being that you have a fairly neutral handle, there was nothing poking or prodding me. I thought it was really comfortable. The nice contour on that titanium pocket clip is very comfortable. I don't feel it at all. Even whenever I was really bearing down into that wood, nothing was poking me. And no matter which grip I held it in, it feels nice. You can even do the reverse gas station knife fighting grip. All of them are good. Pinch grip was great. Even though it's not a deep carry, that's how far it goes in the pocket. I think it's great. And it hugs this side of the pocket. Being that it's a front flipper, you won't have any kind of flipper tab poking out. So if you want to put a phone or something in there, you could definitely do that. And it goes in and out of my jeans and my lightweight shorts rather easily. You got enough ramp under there for my jeans. Now, if you had some super thick jeans, maybe, I don't know. I don't really have anything like that. The lockup on my knife is sitting at around either 30, maybe even 40%. Access to the lock bar is outstanding because this comes up a little bit higher. Then you got this nice large chamfer, and it has texture on it. It is very easy for me to get my thumb in there. Very comfortable. Excellent job. Perfectly executed there. The lockup on mine is rock solid. No movement up or down, left or right. Bank vault lockup. And not only do you have all this tie milled out for the micarta, if you look in here, you have heavy skeletonization that goes all the way through the titanium frame on the top and bottom, coming in at 104.2 grams or 3.67 ounces. That is outstanding. Almost an ounce an inch there. At that size, I think that's perfection. Now for some quick size comparisons. As you can see, it's almost identical to the Griffin Scout F3.5. It is actually a hair shorter than 3.5 and it dwarfs the F3. Here it is next to the Ontario Rat 1 and 2. And it's longer than both the Spyderco PM2 and Power 3. And lastly, it's a hair shorter than the ZT0640. And like I said earlier, it's identical to the length of a large Sabenza. All right, now for my nitpicks and complaints, this is just a nitpick, and it's not even a big deal really at all. I always prefer fine cut jimping. However, this one performs really, really well. So like I said, super nitpicky. Other than that, it's flawless to me. Now you have premium blade steel, premium materials, and a premium OEM. So of course, these do have a premium price tag. I definitely think they're warranted. Like I said earlier, all variations except for the carbon fiber and the special version are all the same price, coming in at $335. The carbon fiber variant comes in at $365, and the Borkman's Damasteel version comes in at $635. If you are interested in one of these, like I said, they went live at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, so they're live now. I will have all necessary links down below in the description. And don't worry if you miss out on the drop on the Griffin site. He has some authorized dealers that will be dropping some, I'm sure, in the next week or two. I will also notify y'all when that happens as well. If you have any questions about anything in particular, feel free to ask me down below. I have enjoyed this one every day since I've gotten it, and it's got probably the most carry time out of any of the folders that I received at Blade Show. It's just an easy one to carry. The weight's perfect for me. It slices very, very well. I think it looks very, very nice as well. And then, not to mention, it really complements its EDC fixed blade brethren right here. Can't wait to hear y'all thoughts on this one. Let me know if you plan on picking one of these up. And I hope every one of y'all is having an absolute amazing Sunday. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.